Hi there, this is Jen, and thank you for joining me today for the monthly Card Hoppin event. For the month of March, our technique is in or out, which means inside the card or outside the card, and the monthly theme is use it or lose it. And so basically what that means is that we are grabbing a supply that we don't use often or maybe have never used, and getting it out and seeing if we want to use it or lose it. So there could be some giveaways on the channels for this hop. To find everybody that's participating, just go ahead and use the hashtag that I have listed below. We do also have participants on Instagram, so make sure that if you're on Instagram, you use the hashtag to find the participants that way as well. But as you can see, I'm using watercolors. These are Artist Loft watercolors. I've had them in this little carousel that I have, and I don't think I've honestly ever used them. I don't even know. I might probably swatch them. But I don't think I've ever actually used them in any project. So I thought I'd get these out and see whether I want to keep these or whether I want to give them away. And some of the channels might have a giveaway of the stuff that they are not keeping if they choose not to keep it, or some of them also might be donating their items to a charity or to a Goodwill. So just keep that in mind when you're going through the videos. And I'm a hoarder of a lot of stuff, but watercolors in particular, because I absolutely love them. So I don't usually like to get rid of them. But like I said, these have not been used. And so I wanted to get them out and see if maybe there was something that convinced me to keep them. And the two cards both are using the same stamp set and basically the same technique. This is one of my absolute favorite techniques because it's so super easy, and it's basically just doing a color wash on the cardstock. And so I like to do a color wash right in the middle and leave the sides white. And so basically what I've done is I've taken some clean water on a fairly thick brush and just painted water basically down the cardstock, and then I'm going to take a smaller paintbrush and dip that in that watercolor and then add that to the water that's already sitting on the card, and it will grab it. This cardstock, it is watercolor cardstock. It really absorbed the water fairly quickly, or maybe it's just because I live in Arizona. Either way, I had to work a little bit harder to get the watercolor to be as random as it could be, which is kind of the fun thing about this technique. But I'm going to go ahead and set that other panel aside, and then I wanted to do one just with the kind of the greenish color and the ochre color. I really love this combination. I think it's so pretty. And I'm just going to repeat the same process as I did with the first panel, just grabbing that watercolor and adding it to the wet card panel. And then I'm going to take my heat tool to dry. If you don't want the effect that sometimes the heat tool can give when the ink is drying, you can go ahead and just let it air dry. And then I'm taking some of that white watercolor and adding a little bit of splatter, of course. And then I wanted to try out these glitter inks, and so there are three of them, a blue one, an orange one, and kind of an orange pink color. I grabbed the orangey pink color, and I am going to go ahead and grab a brush and add a little bit of splatter. And I really love the glitter in these and the splatter. And so I have decided I'm going to keep those three glitter inks, but I will be giving away the watercolor tubes. So if you are interested in participating in the giveaway for the watercolor tubes, I will leave a Google Doc linked below. And basically it's just going to ask you for your email address. I don't keep email addresses. It is just a way for me to contact you if you're the winner. And the giveaway will be open to US addresses only, just because of shipping. I wish I could do international as well. I just can't do the international shipping, so I apologize for that. And so you saw me do a little bit of stamping with some Distress Oxide ink in the antique linen. I love doing that. I think especially on these watercolor backgrounds. It just looks so pretty. And so I've done that on both of the cards. This first card right here, I've gone ahead and added a piece of brown cardstock underneath it. And then the flower that I'm using is actually from a pretty old Stamp Market stamp set. I think it might be called some kind of Wonderful. This one I colored with my Tombows and then fussy cut out, and I'm adding it flat to the card, but I don't add glue to the edges of the petals just so I can kind of turn those up a little bit. And then I will, of course, splatter it some more. So I splattered it with a little bit of gold watercolor and then added a Tim Holtz sentiment sticker to that card. And then for the next card, I pretty much do the same thing. I grabbed some stamps and will stamp the background of the card. So this stamp right here is a Whimsy stamp. I'll have to check. I don't recall the name and see if it's still available. But it makes these really cool rings, kind of like log rings in the background. So I just added a little swatch so that I could get that right in the middle of that panel. And then I will also add a few other background stamps for this one as well. For this one, I'm going to stamp directly on the card panel, and I'm going to use some embossing powder. So I've gone ahead and I've used my anti-static bag, and I will ink this one up with some VersaFine ink. And I did have to stamp this several times onto the cardstock because it is watercolor cardstock. It does not stamp as smoothly as a flat cardstock, and so I did have to stamp that several times. And then I'm going to add the embossing powder, and I'm using a clear embossing powder, and then I will mount this onto a piece of black cardstock. So I just got a little piece of that showing on that right hand side, and then added a sentiment, and that's going to finish off my card as well as my video today. Click on the hashtag for all of the other participants and possible giveaways, and then if you head over to Instagram, you can enter in the hashtag and find participants that way as well. And my giveaway will be open until next Friday, which I believe is the 31st. I'll do a random draw on the 1st. If you like this video or found it informative, I would love a thumbs up. And as always, I thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to spend with me, and I hope to see you next time.